Okay, so here go the rest of some of the story. So, for the last 4 years, been going to court about wrongful eviction because she's a racist, and she kept saying that I didn't pay my that Section 8 wasn't paying them or whatever, and she told me don't come back to the rent office, and that wasn't nobody else. They had another lady in the office that did rent, but she was the manager, and then she told them don't talk to me if I come. So rats had started coming in the apartment from behind the refrigerator. And so Christian tried to, he was 6 at the time, so he went in the refrigerator and he said, Mama, rats coming off and up on the refrigerator. So he almost got bit by a rat, but he didn't because the rat ran. And so she gonna tell me because I had a dog. She gonna say, well, instead of having a dog, you should get a cat. Then you won't have to worry about the rats. And then she was like, it's because you're down in the woods. I don't stay in the worst of places and never had to deal with rats. And so the refrigerator went out. I kept telling her we needed a new refrigerator. And she was like, I'm not going to give you no refrigerator. There's nothing wrong with that one. And so my food kept getting ruined and stuff. And so I was probably in that apartment. I had been at that complex for probably 13, 14. No, I'm going to say 14. I moved there in 2014. I don't forget what month. But I was there 3 years in a 2-bedroom apartment before I transferred to the 3-bedroom. And so I never had a problem at the complex. It was Dogwood Apartments in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I never had a problem out of them. And so, until she became the manager. So, she's a young white woman, very disrespectful. The whole time I had been staying there, probably when she started, she wouldn't open up the door. If you had a problem, she would sit in the office. Well, this lady told me she's still doing that to this day. She's still at the complex. She don't put out a bunch of people, because what I found out was she get paid. She get paid for you get paid for moving people in. You know, you get more money when you're the office manager moving people in. I guess you get some type of bonuses or something. So, the girl upstairs above me, she had a bunch of children. So roaches were coming out the vents and stuff. And so they didn't spray like they were supposed to. They say they pick and choose who apartment they sprayed in. And so ants was coming through the light sockets and stuff. So I had bug spray. So she was like, I called the office and left a message. And I was like, bugs and stuff and ants and roaches and stuff coming in. Could I get somebody to come and spray or whatever? So she wouldn't do that. And so I reported to Section 8. Section 8 don't do their job. And so she told me that I was complaining too much, which I'm narcoleptic. My brain has many seizures. So it's like stress and aggravation. I got COPD, that's asthma, bronchitis, and emphysema. So it's like when I get real stressed, I have asthma attacks and stuff, and I have panic attacks and anxiety attacks from stress. So the girl upstairs, she was always stomping in her room, and her children, she was always hollering and screaming at her children or whatever. So it's like it got to the point where I couldn't sleep. So only time I would sleep is in the daytime. So basically when she got there at night I would play my music. That's the only way I could drown out the noise. Is playing my music real loud. That's to keep the noise. So I could sleep. And so, and then she always was picking up strange men. She had like 7, 8 children. She was always picking up strange men, and the man had they were fighting or whatever, and he stole a food stamp card, and he stole a car too. He waited till she went to sleep, and he stole a food stamp card in her car, and so the police was called and stuff, and so I was like, it's just too much, just too much. I never stay in another complex. That was the first time I ever stayed in a complex. I always lived in the projects or duplexes or houses. This was my first time staying in a complex. And I tell you, it was the worst thing I have ever. It was just, and then like, if you want, they never had the swimming pool open. It's like, they would never buy cleaning supplies so, they could do this pool and stuff. So they had a pool closed, and then when they decide to open the pool, they'll turn around and change the key, so you couldn't use the key to get in the pool. And so it was just always something. So I went back to Battle Housing. I had a lawyer that helped me once before, but she was no longer there. And so I went back to the lawyer and tried to get some assistance about my rent and stuff. They was like, just pay more. And I'm like, okay, so you want me to pay more, which I did pay more, I was like, okay. So they was like, pay more. And I was like, what? Why would I pay more? And that my voucher amount was supposed to have been a certain amount. And it's like they wouldn't help me, So Section 8, they kept, I get Social Security. And so it's like they kept changing my rent. I wasn't working, so I don't understand why they changed my rent 7 times. And so I keep all my paperwork. I got all my rent receipts. I have all the payments that Section 8. I still got everything. And so they wouldn't help me. And so I end up calling the Human Rights Commission, which this was started back in 2017. So I'm going back and forth with the Battle Housing. You never know what lawyer you got, because they just let you talk to the paralegal. That's what I found out. So I never knew what lawyer he was talking to because it's pro bono. And so they was like, pay more money, and I was like, I had living accommodations. They didn't want to do that, give me a reasonable accommodation. In which I was the one who started the law anyway. The law started because of me. Because I had a lawsuit with Chattanooga Housing because I got sick and ended up on oxygen and a CPAP machine because of the mold and stuff when I stayed in Cromwell. And so I ended up having a lawsuit, which they end up not giving me that much money. The lawyer got more money than I did. And after that, she quit. And so when I came to pick up my money, she had quit, So I ended up only getting $4,000. She ended up getting $7,000. And I only got $4,000. And so that was that. And then, so the money I end up putting down on me a car. So I need a car. So I ended up putting $3,000 on a car. And so I was paying car note every month. So, and then, so I was going back and forth. And like I said, the lawyer at the courthouse kept, the lawyer that worked for Dogwood Place Apartments, they crooked. And so I wasn't the only person they don't evicted. They probably evicted over 100 to 200 people from Dogwood Place Apartment. People still paying payment plans to them or whatever. But so I ended up going to court. The lawyer kept changing my court date, so I didn't know my court date had got changed, and so they evicted me. Which I didn't really care. I was tired of staying there anyway. It was just the stress, the aggravation. So I was like, okay, so I just went to the courthouse and got my paperwork. It just said eviction only, possession move. So I called the lawyer and was like, I don't owe y'all no money, whatever, whatever. So they were like, no. So, okay. So I went to Section 8 and tried to get my voucher, put in for a port to move. So they was like, you're not getting your voucher. You owe Dogwood Place. And I'm like, what I owe them for, And they was like, you owe them $2,000. I was like, $2,000 for what? And so, of course, I couldn't go back over there to the premises because that's criminal trespass. Once, you don't let premises, that's trespass. So, I called the lawyer. I wouldn't nobody talk to me. Wouldn't nobody answer me. I'm like, what the hell do I owe y'all? So on the eviction, it say I owe for late charges. And I'm like, late charges? I owe 5 late charges. And I owe 6 water bills. And damages to the apartment, which I did a walkthrough, and on the paper I got, it said I didn't have no damages. So, but of course, she put on the court documents I have damage. But mind you, I found out she moved somebody in. She gave them a new refrigerator, and she moved them in probably 3 days after I moved out, but it was damages to the apartment. Okay. And man, I took pictures, but so having the phone I had at that time, I dropped it in the water while I was moving, so that phone got damaged. So whatever. So I ended up having to get a new phone, and so that happened. So we ended up going to court. This 2017. So after that, I ended up since the lawyer, he kept not telling me, he kept changing the court dates, putting it out, change the court date, putting it out. And I'm like, shit, I need this shit done, I'm tired of this being dragged out because they put it on my credit report. And so I couldn't get nowhere else to move to, So it's me, my mama, she on dialysis, so you need somewhere to stay, And then I got my sister's son I'm raising. And so that, and then me, which I got health problems, he got autism, so he then end up, so I got